What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of the Only for the Strong podcast. For those of you who don't know, my name is Campbell Younger, and today's guest is the digital imaging specialist at FujiFilm X Series New Zealand, as well as owner and operator of his own digital media business, Bingham Creative. Samuel Bingham, how you going, brother?
Yeah, good mate. Good. Thanks for having me on today. It's a bit of a privilege, really, for you to come up and get me amongst.
Yeah, crazy things going on, especially for you, bro. Recently moving to Auckland, and everything that's happening with lockdown, and even I see the floods um, up in West Auckland today. So it's just crazy. So it's nice to get you on for a chat. Um, the first thing I want to do is because I know you as sort of the owner and operator of Bingham Creative. I'd really like you to sort of dive into your role at Fujifilm. Obviously, they're a super established company, and so if you just let me know what it entails and the sort of events and projects you're involved in.
Yeah, definitely. So I was initially doing retail sales at the photo warehouse in Christchurch, and I kind of developed a bit of a relationship with Fujifilm, enjoyed their products,
Mm,
and wanted to start pursuing that a bit more. The opportunity came up to be a sales and training specialist for the company. But with that, it involved a big move up to Auckland. So 2 weeks before lockdown here, moved on up, had 2 weeks in the job, and now I'm kind of just chilling. But I've got obviously stuff to do and
mm,
whatnot. But yeah, no, it's been a big move, but definitely a move that I haven't regretted yet, and I don't think I will.
mm. How did those first 2 weeks go on the job? Was it pretty chill or pretty like straight into it?
It was a lot of information. Um, it was good though because they obviously had the job advertised and they were expecting someone to come on board who
Mm,
didn't know much about the company or the products or anything. So then for me to kind of jump in and have all this intel that I've learned, especially about the products, specifically about the products, and to apply that right away was really beneficial.
mm, for sure.
Yeah.
So are they? Because am I right? In Fujifilm are really the leading brand in New Zealand and like I guess digital imaging and
Yeah, so obviously Fujifilm's been about producing film and lenses and whatnot for a while. They do have a huge medical department
mm,
overseas. So they're a huge global company. Their biggest divisions in New Zealand is obviously you've got your Fujifilm Instax, so your creative printing, your prints as well. So whenever you go to Harvey Norman or the warehouse or anything, you get your kiosks and you do your photo prints. So it's a huge company, especially within the New Zealand market. But we've obviously got our competing brands. So you've got your Canons, your Nikons,
yeah, for
Sony.
sure.
It's a very competitive market.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think taking it back a little bit, I think you and I first met, oh, it must have been 2018, and I had asked for someone to just suggest anyone based in Dunedin who was able to film a bit of content or a video for some, I guess, in gym training stuff I was doing at the time. And then I can't remember who it exactly was, but someone recommended you, and I think we just recognized each other from the bars. Um,
Yeah,
and I brought you in, and it was into Propel at the time, and there was
yeah.
literally no one else there. And you basically took like basically an empty gym, and me and my mate doing a session, and you turned it into a pretty cool video. I've still got
Mm.
that video up on YouTube, and I just remember you did a really good job, and that stood out to me. So what I kind of want to know is how did you go from essentially being a student in Dunedin, probably partying up a bit, that sort of thing, going to working in Auckland for Fujifilm and running your own business.
Yeah, I was actually having a look at that video the other night actually, and kind of obviously doing the recent gym videos I've done. Can definitely see the correlation between that one
Yeah.
I did for you and obviously these new ones. But it kind of just started, the street parties are a big part of it. You know, you had your Hyde and
Mm,
your Agnews and going along to them and kind of choosing to film and document it rather than getting on the piss with my mates and stuff.
mm,
Obviously, there are a few times where I did have a beverage or two, but for the most part, I was there to document and tell that story. And it's something that you want to look back on, and it's quite timeless. You know,
mm,
you look back and you're like, damn, that's very 2018. Like, it just takes you back to that day.
mm,
So that's kind of where the whole idea for my video stuff came from, is to just not really like push it or grow it in a way. I just wanted to be that person that people could come to and be like, I need this documented. Can you do it? Can it be something that we can look back on in years to come? Just like a wedding video or something like that. People look at wedding videos and they think, oh man, it takes them back to that specific day. So yeah, that kind of led into obviously the Bingham creative stuff and got a bit more commercial work. And I was able to really drive the content that I wanted to do. I was able to kind of turn down what I didn't want to do and push it towards the creative stuff that I enjoyed. Obviously, balancing the freelance stuff with a bit of retail sales work. And then the retail sales kind of took a bit more priority. And then I obviously went into the FujiFilm side of things. I think the idea of having kind of that stability for me, combined with working for a reputable company like FujiFilm, just, it kind of took the play.
For sure. So you started basically filming street parties.
Yeah, pretty much.
And were you doing this for students who just wanted a sick film of their street party, or were you just doing that out of your own initiative to start making content?
It was more so out of my own initiative, like I obviously had the choice. I had all my mates who, groups of mates who lived on Hyde and who lived on Agnew, and they invite you around and you get on the sauce. And there were times I did that, but it got to the point, like I just want to do more than that, I want to be able to create something that, you can look back on. And even now I watch the 2018 Agnew Street video and I just remember it so vividly that day. Like it's just done a stunner, like in the middle of winter,
Yeah. And I think it's cool. I think that's why I resonated with you as well, because Dunedin's often people call it kind of like the graveyard, because a lot of people come to Dunedin, they get lost and getting on the sauce, drinking, like partying and all that. And that is, I can see the positives of that, but it's quite cool to see that you almost took that aspect of it and turned it into content creation, which is super cool. So following on from that, I want to touch on your business, Bingham Creative, a little bit. So what are the we've touched on the foundations of what that's built on and where you came from. And I just want to know, in your content production, are you a storyteller through your work, or are you more an X's and O's sort of guy?
Definitely a storyteller. Like looking at some of the content I produce, it's very, the term is used a lot, but fly on the wall. I don't usually direct people in a way. It looks unnatural for me personally. Like there are people who can direct their subjects and they can do a really good job at making it look natural. But for me, I just literally say to people, just do your thing and just pretend I'm not even here. That's usually why you see videographers wearing full black as well, because it just helps them blend in a lot more. So being able to obviously do that and just let people be themselves, and being able to document that through video and visuals.
It's interesting you say that, because I actually think I remember that's what you said that first day when you came to the gym to record that video. You said, I'll just be a fly on the wall, you just do your thing. And I think that's probably a big ingredient to why the video came up so well. So obviously you're working for FujiFilm. So what's the future for Bingham Creative? Is it something you want to be doing long term? Are you more suited to being employed full time?
I think it's the sort of outlet that will always be there for me. Like I've got to the point now where I've kind of built the skills, I've built the vision. You've got the creative eye. Like no one can take that away from me, regardless of whether I'm working full time or not. But I think the working full time thing for now, especially being in such a pivotal time of life, your mid-20s, it's good experience. Being amongst a team, like working in a corporate lifestyle in a way, and obviously combining that with the industry that I love. There may be a time one day when I leave full-time work and jump back into video stuff, but for now it's just getting more experience, building that creative eye as well, and then maybe one day I'll be able to apply it back to Bingham Creative.
Yeah, For sure. So, as you know, and I know, when you start your own business, it is a bit of a grind. So, would you say employment suits you a bit more, or what does your sort of balance look like, if that makes sense? Like, what do you need in your day to day outside of your business to function, to be happy, and what does that picture sort of look like?
It did get to the point actually where when I was doing my freelance Bingham creative stuff, because you are your own boss
Mm,
and there is no be at work at this time, leave at this time. I just got into the routine of just training too much in a way,
mm,
like in terms of gym training.
yeah.
I'd eat it and then just eat and then go to the gym. And it was a healthy routine, but it was also a bad routine as well
Mm,
because it wasn't consistent. I was kind of just going day by day, you know. Um, so yeah, and obviously the loneliness side of things as well when you're working, especially being a videographer or a photographer or any sort of content creator, it's very lonely.
mm,
You know, you're sitting in front of your laptop 12 hours a day kind of thing, and you just need like human interaction. So that's
mm,
probably why I did, you know, go to the gym, just because, you know, there's people there who
yeah,
you
for sure.
chat to, or, you know, it's just interaction that you don't get from a normal job.
Mm,
So I do enjoy that aspect of the full-time work, you know, like I can, you know, go to work at 8:30, have my morning coffee, you know, chat to people. And a lot of my colleagues are kind of in their 30s, 40s. So
yeah.
it's good wisdom as well, like good to chat to them. Like they, a whole different age bracket, you know, they see things a lot differently to the way you and I would see things.
Mm. For sure. So, leading on to just content creation as a whole, what are some positives and negatives you see in the current marketplace of content creation? Maybe things you think people and businesses are doing really well, and some things you think people and businesses aren't doing so well.
Probably a positive and a negative. It's so accessible. You know, you
Mm,
can pick up your phone and start making content, you know, which is great because it means you have access to that. Like you can document things that, you know, you would have had to have a 10 grand camera set up 15 years ago, you know.
mm,
Um, on the other hand, that creates a very saturated market. Um, Obviously, with the likes of, I feel the industry is definitely changing. You know, you've got
mm,
TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, or something where it's just continuous. You know, you just keep scrolling and scrolling. And I feel it's getting to the point now where, and this actually had a bit of a play on the reason why I started full time work over Bingham Creative, is because the content that was coming out and that I was seeing on social feeds was very low quality in a way. It was
mm,
just as much content as you can, just feed it into the feed.
mm.
Whereas I take a lot more slower approach, and you know, you spend two
Like
months on
quality
an
over
edit.
quantity sort of thing.
Yeah, and like I would spend a month or two on a video edit, just perfecting the finest details, and then the Instagram algorithm just wouldn't work in your favor.
Mm.
And all
So,
of a sudden you get disheartened because you know it hasn't performed as well, or it hasn't, you know, hasn't been reached positively. But then you have someone who comes along and spends 2 hours on an Instagram reel and they just blow up. So
yeah, for
I
sure.
think it's quite hard to stand out in the market these days,
Mm.
because everyone is doing it, you know.
For sure. So if someone came to you and they were starting a business, just for ease of the example, let's say a personal trainer, and they wanted to do
Mm.
online training, and they came to you and they said, "Sam, um, what should I be doing content wise? What content should I be doing myself for free, and what sort of content should I be getting someone like you to do paid work for?"
Mm.
Do you have sort of any direction on that?
I think you know, Instagram Reels and TikTok and stuff like that is a great sort of outlet for most people. You can make a pretty nice reel on your phone or something like that.
Mm,
Um, if you have access to a better camera, then obviously you set it up on a tripod. For the example of a personal trainer who would want to, I don't know, online train someone and have like a workout that they can show, then obviously using like a proper camera and running through a structured workout in video format that you
mm,
could send them, that would be a great way to do so. Yeah, it's definitely hard with kind of content in general. Like you can go down so many routes of photography, videography, podcasts. For example, there's so many outlets. I think it's more so getting the balance.
Yeah. So did you, in your time, obviously producing all this content for yourself, for other people, did you ever notice any pattern on what had good interaction, or it was just literally a little bit of a shit show? Like it was hard to sort of gauge what was going to land well, what wasn't, and it was a stab in the dark most of the time.
It was literally a stab in the dark. Like I know
Yeah.
people who would post at like 7 o'clock on the dot every night because that was when they got the most likes. And I just never really got into that. Like I just, like if I have a sick photo or a sick video, I'll post it whenever.
Yeah.
It's the algorithm definitely changed things in a way, and that's kind of when I think a lot of people kind of took a step back. But then there's other people who definitely use the algorithm in their favor.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Super interesting. So I've just got some quick fire questions for you. We're just going to roll through. So the first one is the last meal you would have if you were on death row.
Oh, jeepers. Probably, oh, it's hard. Probably a pizza.
Nice.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
sort
probably
of, from
the
where?
pepperoni from Sal's.
Nice. Sweet.
Yeah,
Your favorite music genre?
it'd have to be drum and bass.
Yeah.
Obviously, being from Dunners, it'd have to be.
Yeah, frick, bro. Just quickly touching on that, it's crazy to me. I must have been first year in like 2015, and I don't even know what DMV was. And then
Yeah.
obviously working in the bars and like being down here later on in like 2019, 2021, that scene has blown up, and just the work I see DJs, content creators getting in that space is crazy. Like it's crazy.
There's so many people that just, they're bedroom DJs and they put in that work. And same thing as videography and content, they just put in that work, sitting at a laptop at a desk, and it pays off.
Yeah. So sorry to loop back around real quick to the content thing. So obviously,
Yeah.
like it's super saturated. It's a stab in the dark. Do you think the best sort of plan of attack to just reaping the most rewards from your content is just to pump it, like just to pump out the content?
Uh, you got to get the balance.
Yeah.
There's no point in posting
Rubbish.
every single day low quality content. It's going to damage your audience.
Yeah.
They're going to get uninterested. It's I think aiming for, if you're wanting to grow any sort of platform, 2 to 3 interactions a week. So whether that's a post, a photo post, a video post, a reel, I think 3 times a week is a good balance. Anything more than that, and you're just going to saturate.
Yeah, for sure. In your opinion, the greatest athlete of all time?
This is very biased, obviously, but I think Mahe Drysdale.
Really? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I've obviously did rowing at high school, and he was like, the pinnacle, absolute legend. And to see him, at his age go back to back in the single is just incredible.
Yeah. Your biggest inspiration in business?
I think Steve Jobs.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, Steve Jobs is a great one.
Yeah. Your favorite movie of all time?
Interstellar.
Nice.
Yeah.
Your most preferred social media platform to push content on?
Instagram.
Awesome. Is that just because the interaction's still really good for the bang for buck's still pretty good compared to other platforms?
Yeah, I think it's the most suited to the type of content that I make. And when you take it back to the early days of Instagram was photography. And that's where my passion kind of sits, is just with photography, so.
Yeah, I think we forget, like when Instagram first started, it was just that, you just post pictures, and it was a place to post your pictures, and now I guess it's come far and wide, which there's pros and cons to that. But yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I really appreciate your time today, bro. That's pretty much it. What I want to do before I let you go is just let you plug your socials and mention anything you want to mention. So I'll just leave that over to you.
Yeah, yeah. But I actually do just want to say I remember having a chat with you, Cam, outside bloody Max Bar one night. I think I was a little bit on the
Probably
sauce,
steamed,
and you,
eh?
yeah, yeah, you were security, and we were chatting, and I was chatting to you about training and stuff, and you just
Mm,
said, "Oh, mate, if you've got the drive and you've got the right attitude, like you'll do well." And
yeah.
that's it kind of stuck with me, and I've applied that sort of principle and notion to a lot of things that I do. Like, doesn't matter whether you've got the skills or
Mm,
as long as you've got that drive and dedication, then you're going to go far. But yeah, no, it's been obviously great chatting to you, and obviously a huge privilege to be brought on. But my obviously my Instagram is Bingham, so BINGHAAM, and then my business Instagram is Bingham Creative. So yeah,
awesome. Well, yeah, again, bro, really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on, and I'll definitely get you back on a little bit down the track.
yeah, sounds good, Cam. Bloody
Sweet.
good. All the
All
best
right.
for the podcast as
Yeah.
well.
Easy, bro. Thank you very much.
No worries.
All right.